This week on the Racer X Show, Stewart rides, but it's not the weekend he was hoping for. Teammates duke it out for race wins and valuable points as we approach the halfway point of the Pro Moto season. The Flat Track Championship was roosted and pelted in Lima, Ohio, and race action was smoking hot. Superbike Shootout in NorCal for what turned out to be a tank slapper of a time. And the high-flying Pro ATVs were way up. In Minnesota, that is. We have that. So take a seat and enjoy the show. Hello race fans and welcome to the Racer X Show presented by Chaparral. You've tuned in to our new show that highlights racing from across the United States and sometimes the world. Motocross, road racing, off-road, dirt track stuff. We'll show you Pro ATV, GNCC. Basically, if we can get some decent video of the event, we'll try to showcase it right here on the show. And yes, we are in the middle of the Racer Productions offices in Morgantown, West Virginia. Not a studio where there's nothing else going on. This is like a room in the middle of the offices. And there is all kinds of great stuff going on. And of course, I find some really cool stuff laying around like this Ricky Carmichael helmet and Hurricane Bob Hanna. It is pretty awesome, like this show. So let's not delay any longer. Let's get right into it.
The Racer X Show with Greg White is being presented by Chaparral Motorsports. Visit Chaparral Motorsports online at chapmoto.com.
We'll kick you off with Pro Motocross. Last week we mentioned that James Stewart was in a bit of hot water over his positive drug test performed by WADA. He's on provisional suspension. And we left an open question if he would take the gate at the Pro Motocross race. Well, he did, so that answers that. But with the last race in June taking place in Blountville, Tennessee, more attention is being paid to the factory KTM stars of Ken Roczen and Ryan Dungey. And they didn't disappoint. Pro Motocross highlights right now. So off we go to the Red Bull Tennessee National from Muddy Creek. Man, I love that name. A great crowd and decent weather for the race. A unique perspective from Toyota Yamaha JGR rider Josh Grant's helmet cam. So we get a first-hand look at a pileup which claimed James Stewart, Chad Reed, and many more. Red Bull KTM's Ken Roczen had the lead, but tipped over, getting stuck under his bike for a little while, kicking and clawing his way back up. With Eli Tomac out front, Team Honda muscle milked number 41 Trey Kennard third, deep in a rut, goes down, allows Roczen to go by. So now, number 5, Red Bull KTM's Ryan Dungey is chasing down number 3 Tomac on the GEICO Honda. Squares up the corner, soaks up the energy from the jump to stay low, bombs the whoops, and away he goes. That would be that. The Moto 1 win to the two-time 450 Moto champ. Dungey over Roczen. Stewart was able to recover from the early pileup to finish 5th. Weston Pike in 10th. He'd have a much better race in Moto 2. When the gate dropped and the mad dash for turn 1 was over, a marquee rider, Yoshimura Suzuki's James Stewart, was down and got going dead last. Dungey was out front, but it's time to unleash the hounds, or let the KTM riders battle it out, whichever, as Roczen blasts by Dungey for the lead. But Ryan's a fighter, and side by side they go, but Roczen with better momentum through the rollers. But we head back to keep an eye on Stewart's progress. Here, a cross thread that could have gone horribly wrong. Holding his side for a second, that one looked like it hurt. But for Roczen, the Moto win, the 2-1, and the overall. Flip-flop for the top. Roczen over Dungey. Tomac and Kennard stay 3 and 4, but Pike with a solid 5th in Moto 2. But the winner gets to talk to the camera.
Felt good out there. Got a good start, good battle with Ryan. Had a close call like 2 laps to go out here and lost a bit of time, but made it happen.
The Red Bull KTMs dominate at Muddy Creek. And on this weekend, going 3 for 3 will get you 3rd, for Eli Tomac anyway. Andrew Short goes 6-8, notching him 5th overall. Again with the KTM on top. So far for Roczen, nothing but podium overalls, 4 wins, 5 second places, and a solo 3rd. That'll get you 230 points. Stewart with a big slip in the tally. Kennard is close now. Onto the 250s, and seriously, how big is that gate? I can tell you, it's full of a lot of hungry riders, all trying to get through in a good position and cleanly. But not true for Jeremy Martin, your points leader. The Yamalube Yamaha star racing rider went down. He's number 19, right there in the middle. In Massachusetts, we call that a wicked bama. When Martin got rolling, he was on a charge. Here going by number 71, Zach Bell. That looked kind of close. So to the live helmet cam we go. Good job by the GEICO Honda rider to keep it clean. Up front, number 37, Cooper Webb, on his Yamalube Star Racing Yamaha YZ, was able to get by Christophe Pourcel, who was having some struggles on his Valley Yamaha. Webb was on a tear. More on that. But when it came down to the final lap, final corner, Blake Baggett on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki steals the win. But wait a second. Let's go back to the start. Look at Cooper Webb slamming bars. Almost goes down, stays up in like 25th. What a ride for the North Carolina native. So Baggett continues his romp. He's coming off of 4 overalls in a row. But could he be stopped? Jeremy Martin hoped so, trying to stop the bleeding. 10th was what he could salvage in Moto 1. Moto 2 and the onboard view from Zach Bell. All the way to the outside. That is a long way around, but it sure paid off. When the mud settled, Bell sifted himself out in 6th-ish. But up front, it was Pourcel with the early jump, but this time, no start drama for Webb. And Mini Cooper 175, as he's known on Twitter, was en fuego. He just looked like he was on a mission to take home the gold. In football, we call that a goal. Yeah, I did that. Moto 2 results confirm Webb on top. Bogle able to beat Baggett. Points leader Martin. His mid-season slump continues, 6th in this one. But all props to Cooper Webb, who takes his first pro win at his home race.
I'm on cloud 9. I'm not gonna lie. I was beating myself up when I got past on the last turn, but to do it in front of my home race, man, I could hear these guys every lap. You know, North Carolina, baby.
So happy for Webb, 2-1 for his first overall. Eyes are sharply fixed on the 10-6 by series leader Jeremy Martin. If Martin continues this streak, things could change in a heartbeat for the championship. Martin has a slimming lead over Webb, but Webb is closing down, only outriding his teammate twice all season, those being the last 2 meetings. And never count out Blake Baggett. This is exciting stuff. At the Monster Energy Mammoth Mountain Motocross, the women's MX were racing it up on Sunday, with Mackenzie Tricker taking a 1-1 on her Yamaha, followed by a strong 2-2 performance from Marissa Markelin. Lauren Woods just missing the podium with a 3-6. At the halfway point of the WMX season, it's Tricker who's on top, 197 points in the bag. Only Markelin has her in sight. It's going to be a tall order to topple the Tricker at this point. The 5th round of the AMA Pro Flat Track National Championship to decide the Grand National Champion stopped in Lima, Ohio at the Allen County Fairgrounds for a 4-turn half mile that is hard on equipment because you barely roll off the throttle the entire race. And oh, did I mention that it's done on pea gravel? Yeah, and if you get roosted, it hurts. So finding your own way around is key. A lot of drama in this one. 25 laps around the fairgrounds was scheduled. The fastest time setter was number 7, Sammy Halbert, on the Southeast Harley-Davidson, a host of engine makers wedged into flat track chassis, Triumph, Suzuki, Ducati, and Kawasaki, like the EX650 punched out to a 750 of the Villa Esparza Crosley Radio's Brian Smith. But when the light went green, it was 5th place qualifier Jared Mees with the launch. That would last about half a lap, as Halbert, using the cushion up top, was able to blast past the number 9, who was on his Rogers Racing Las Vegas Harley-Davidson, on the 3rd lap. Smith had caught Mees, and like Halbert, was taking a higher line than the 2012 champ. But 25 laps is a long race to leave the throttle wide open. And with a healthy lead, Halbert's engine let go. He'd be black flagged and sent back to the pits. So first by was Brian Smith, that's for P1. Then Mees goes whizzing by, with less than half the race in the books. Now fast forward to 11 left. Mees, taking the tighter inside line, started to give Smith fits. They would crisscross for the lead a few times until Smith just couldn't make the high line work any longer. That would be it for this race. The double checkered flag for the Clio, Michigan resident, his third at Lima, 14th win of his career. So Mies flies the flag for Harley-Davidson in Ohio. Brandon Robinson was able to sneak by Smith to capture second place. The red-hot Kenny Coolbeth cooled his jets a little, taking his Ducati to a solid 15-point finish. Jake Constantine, the last of the top teners. But give Mies the mic.
Oh man, you know, I got a really good start, and here came Sammy blazing the top, and I just don't have, just can't go up there quite like that and gas it up. And I knew the top was going to wear out pretty quick, so I kind of just stuck to my plan all day, and we were kind of slow in practice and got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And you know, when I seen Sammy break, I was like, wow, okay, cool. And right when he broke, I lost my brakes. I was like nervous at first, so I couldn't get it slowed down, but in the end, it kind of helped me because I brought the thing in on 2 wheels and just blurped it once and turned it, and it was awesome. It really was. And I ran Brian down, and you could tell his line was probably wearing out a little bit up there. It gets real deep up there, and just kind of worked him, and I knew I wasn't going to get tired at all. I just keep going and going, and man, Kenny Tolbert, Sammy Sweet, these guys had this bike so good.
In the chase for that illustrious #1 plate, Coolbeth pulled away from Johnson just a smidge. Mies only 10 points back, trying to recapture his 2012 glory. Still 9 races in this one. In the Pro Singles main event, leading from lap 1 to 5 was Bobby DeSena, until the red-hot Kyle Johnson on the 77J makes his move on the inside. That lead would never be relinquished. As the Twin Lake, Michigan rider, Kyle Johnson would roll his Honda-powered Parkinson Brothers racing machine home for the W. Davis Fisher from Warren, Oregon passed DeSena for second. DeSena saying after the race he was gassed halfway through. Not a bad result for a guy who hasn't been on a bike in 2 years. And speaking of two in a row for our winner.
Bobby got off to a great start, and I kind of ran there in second for a couple laps. I got some good drives, kind of figured out some lines that were working good, and was able to get out front and kind of walk away with it. It felt great.
After 4, Brandon Wilhelm leads them. Johnson in 4th after his 2 wins in a row. 9 to go in the series of 13. Anything can happen. We now move to 4 wheels and the Mountain Dew AMA Pro Racing ATV MX Championship. A similar format to the Pro Motocross Racers, just done with a couple of extra wheels. Even some of the same tracks as the Pro Motocross motorcycle. And the action can be high-flying and some gnarly crashes. 2 15-minute +2 motos define the overall winner on the day. The 6th stop on the championship calendar was Millville, Minnesota's Spring Creek Motocross Park. The last time the series raced here, 2011, and the same winner then, the same winner now. But the top qualifier was JB Racing's Cheerwine Can-Am's Jeffrey Rastrelli. He's number 728. That's good for first gate pick. The first time in his career at this level. But when the race started, it was Josh Upperman on his Baldwin Motorsports Honda who opened it up quickest and best. He was able to take advantage of the hole shot by opening up a bit of a gap on the opening lap. But when the second lap started, it was all number 1 who was on point. That would be Wienen Motorsports Yamaha's Chad Wienen. So far this season, he's been shredding the competition. And he opened up a gap, and that was that, leaving the podium scraps for the others, like JB Racing's Can-Am's Joel Hetrick, who recovered from a 5th place start to pick riders off one by one until he was in 2nd. But on this one, all hats off to Wienen on a great victory. Connecticut's Josh Kramer rode his Can-Am to 3rd ahead of Rastrelli and Thomas Brown, with some big names behind them like Upperman and Natali. In Moto 2, a big surprise for fans lining the race course. The Hole Shot Award was captured by H&M Motorsports' David Hagsma. The California native made the trip to Minnesota to give ATV MX a go. Not a bad way to announce yourself, and leading the first lap with no number 1 inside the top 5. But never fear, my Wienen-loving fans, Chad would soon be on the move forward, following his teammate Thomas Brown up through the pack and into 2nd. All the while, from 5th place came Joel Hetrick to keep the Yamaha guys in sight. But when the flags were flying over the tabletop finish, it was Brown taking it home for the win. Yamaha won 2. Coming home 4th was Josh Kramer, with Rastrelli a solid 5th. Bakersfield, California's Hagsma won better than Moto 1 in 7th. but another overall, his 4th in 6th. Chad Wienen, let's hear from him.
Man, the guys are running good up front, and we just had a great setup, found some good lines out there, and made some quick passes, and just reeled in Thomas at the end, and just played it smart, and didn't do anything to jeopardize the overall for the day, and ended up second, and we're extended the points lead and moving to Unadilla.
Confirmation of my chit-chat, Wienen, Hetrick, and Brown. Brown's win helped keep him on the podium after a strong 3-4 from Kramer. Hagsma heads back to Cali, 8th overall in his first attempt. With only 3 events left in this one, Chad Wienen is looking really strong to repeat or three-peat or something. He's won a lot of stuff over the years and all over the world. It'll be fun to see if anyone can stop this machine. With a field riddled with injury and restricted by travel, the Pro-Am overall was taken by Taylor from Montezuma, Iowa. He took his Honda to a 2-4 for 30 points. Nick Janusa from New Jersey won the first moto but was 6th on the second one. Ronnie Higgerson, 31 points adrift of the competition. But in Pro-Am, we've had 5 winners in 6 events. July 12th is the next one. Can anyone stop Cutler, Illinois' Higgerson from taking the Pro-Am #1? We'll show you right here on the Racer X Show. Last week, we showed you highlights from a one-off 3-race series held out west. It's called the GEICO Motorcycle Superbike Shootout, presented by Yamaha. And some big names and teams were in attendance. Monster Energy Graves Yamaha, Yoshimura Suzuki, Factory KTM HMC Racing, and more. Now, the series started in Southern California at Auto Club Speedway, but now we head north for round 2. Sonoma Raceway in wine country, Sonoma, California was the site of the second meeting of these races. We'll start you off with the Race Fuels Pro Superbike class. It was Superbike rookie #2 Cameron Beaubier with the fastest lap in qualifying. He was pumped because he's in his home race. He lives like an hour and a half away. But when the clutches were let out, it was number 11 KTM HMC's Chris Fillmore on the RC8 who got the jump. In tow, Josh Hayes. He's known for winning a few Superbike races. Back in third, Sick Motul Fly Racing's David Anthony, or Aussie Dave as he's known, on a privateer Suzuki. Fillmore's lead would last about 3/4 of the first lap until Hayes, who likes to be off the front, made his move. And what about pole sitter Cameron Beaubier? Well, he had a mediocre start, and it took him about 1/4 of the race to make his move on Fillmore. A few turns later, and Fillmore was trying to keep the leaders in sight. And boom, he goes down. Monster Energy Graves Yamaha's Beaubier laser locked on Hayes' tail section, putting on some pretty forceful pressure. When heading through and out of turn 1, Hayes made a big mistake. His Yamaha R1 bouncing all over the place, but he saved it. For #2 Cameron Beaubier, his first Superbike Shootout win after just missing out in Fontana. Hayes in second place with Yoshimura Suzuki's Martin Cardenas able to pull away from David Anthony. But lots of props to Aussie Dave for a front row start and 4th on the weekend. Fillmore able to pick up his KTM and rip all the way to 6th place. But how about that can?
I had a great race. I got off to the start, bad start, and just chipped my way through the pack and was able to pull a little gap at the end.
With the FIM point scoring system in place, a second and a win outscores a win and a third by 5 points. Josh Hayes hangs back 9 adrift. With rumors of no attendance from the Yoshimura team, this could be Cameron's to win or lose. We now shift our focus to the DynoJet Pro Sport Bike, where #8 Yamaha Extended Services, Monster Energy Graves Yamaha's Garrett Gerloff was the fastest qualifier. His championship rival Bobby Fong on the latest Triumph, 2nd place. The beginning part of the race saw #50 Fong leading the way from 98 GEICO Honda's Jake Zemke and Gerloff. With Fong eking out a slight gap, Gerloff had to get by Zemke and by quickly, but a mistake going into the chicane. On the second attempt, Gerloff made it stick, so he can set his sails for his nemesis. A few laps later, and what seemed to be a very patient #8 makes his move for the lead. His first time leading a Superbike Shootout race. Behind them, Zemke had his hands full with #3 Joe Roberts, #35 Benny Solis, and #76 Bryce Prince. And then this. Zemke, Roberts, and Solis all go down. They'd be okay, but bruised. Up front, Gerloff had made a few mistakes to let Fong stay within striking distance, but he did enough to take his first win in 3 years. Gerloff, Fong, and how about Bryce Prince, a solid third. You got to put yourself in the position, and he did. And how about this? Garrett Gerloff's first time ever to Sonoma Raceway, one of the toughest road courses in the U.S.
I made so many mistakes in that race. It's unbelievable. I was, you know, my adrenaline was super high, and I was just trying to breathe and relax, but I ran through the dirt in the chicane and was waiting for Bobby to pass me so I wouldn't get penalized. And I don't know. I'm just happy to finally win a race. It's been like 3 years or something, so it's pretty sad when I think about it, but just excited to be winning now. So thanks for my whole Yamaha extended service, Monster Energy Graves, Yamaha team, everybody. Just speechless. Thank you.
One race remains in this abbreviated championship, and heading into the final round at Miller Motorsports Park, it's all even to top the leaderboard. Fong and Gerloff in a winner-take-all battle, with JD Beach in position if it all goes wrong. And by the way, these races are airing on MAV TV right now, so check out superbikeshootout.com for more information. All right, to the MotoGP World Championship. Now, it's the largest form of motorcycle racing in the world. Established in 1949, MotoGP used to be called Grand Prix and has produced some of the biggest stars in the world. How about Valentino Rossi, for one? And we have 2 Americans that are competing in the series this year. 2006 MotoGP World Champ Nicky Hayden and Colin Edwards from Conroe, Texas. Sometimes these purpose-built machines travel over 200 miles per hour on a straightaway and can carry up to 65 degrees of lean angle in the corners. And they race all over the world. And we're in Holland over the weekend with a record-tying performance from the newest superstar. In the premier class with the same name as the series, MotoGP, it was Spaniard Marc Marquez who took the win. In what was crazy conditions with dry, then wet, then dry, but Marquez has won 8 in a row this season. That hasn't been done since the great Giacomo Agostini in 1971. A great ride for Andrea Dovizioso on a Ducati, his second podium of the year. Well, when you're selfish and collect all the points, a perfect 8 will get you 200. So Marquez leads them. 10 championship races to go. Only Marquez can beat himself now. In the Moto2 class with wet conditions, typical of Assen, it was Australian Anthony West who rode his speed up to a 3-second victory over Maverick Vinales and Mico Kallio. It was West's first win since his first win, coincidentally, at Assen back in 2003. Tito Rabat has a 26-point advantage over Kallio and Vinales, all riders on the Kalex chassis. The lone American racing in Moto2 is Josh Herron. He finished 18th, 3 spots outside a points-paying position. For the second time ever, 2 brothers have taken the top spot in the box during the same MotoGP weekend. Mark's younger brother, Alex, won the Moto3 race over his teammate Alex Rins. Miguel Oliveira on the Mahindra rounds out the top 3. In the points table, Australian Jack Miller on his KTM is still leading despite 2 DNFs in the last 3 races. Finati and Marquez are tied, but Marquez is the one with the hot hand right now. All right, now to some off-road stuff and the National Enduro Series. In the Loose Moose National Enduro in Marquette, Michigan over the weekend, it was Husqvarna Factory Racing's Andrew DeLong who claimed his first win of the season. He won by 1 minute and 4 seconds over FMF KTM Stewart Baylor, with Air Group Racing's Nick Farringer third. The overall picture looks like this. Inglewood, Ohio's Farringer has 6 over the injured Charlie Mullins, who's not raced in the last 2 events. But Andrew DeLong is 7 back and looking strong with 4 events to go. Before we get you out of here and let you celebrate the 4th of July, there's some racing going on this weekend. So get out and check it out. Pro Motocross in Michigan, Buchanan, Michigan to be exact. And round 6, it's the Red Bull Red Bud race, Saturday, July 5th. ProMotocross.com for more. And the AMA Pro Flat Track Series is in Maryland for the Hagerstown Half Mile. Also July 5th, gates open at 4, racing at 8 p.m. AMAProRacing.com has all of that information. All right, if you want to get in touch with us, shoot me an email. It's pretty easy. It's greg@racertv.com. If you want us to put your local races up on the upcoming events calendar, greg@racertv.com. And hey, if you're a motorcycle racer or a fan and you want to stop by the Racer X Show studios on a Tuesday, just let us know. You can come check us out. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, 80 miles south of Pittsburgh, just off the I-79. Well, that'll do it for show number 2. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. We did. For the fine crew here at the Racer X Show, presented by Chaparral, I'm Greg White. And remember, we are all racing all the time. Bye-bye. See ya. Gotta go. Happy birthday, America.